Well,
Yes,
hello.
sir. Yes,
Oh,
sir. Yes,
okay.
sir.
Wow. This is awesome. First off, I want to thank everybody for who is watching right now, coming live, because we're live on Saturday. Nope, gotcha. We're not live. We're doing a pre-recorded episode, excuse me, because of work scheduling, such like that, unfortunately. But we still wanted to give you something because we still want to come into your homes and just entertain you and talk about the two things that hit us this weekend. And
Mm.
one thing came up all of a sudden yesterday. Was not expecting it.
Yeah.
I'm saying, but let's get these introductions out of the way first. Thank you all once again, and welcome to the Fandom Initiative.
Yes, sir.
As always, you're welcome. The gentleman across from me, this is the cinema CEO. He is the cinema god. He is also one half of the tag team champs of the Lord, along with Lady Mina, who has her own podcast called Mina and Mawa Politicking for the Culture, and they also co-host a podcast called the AMC A-Listers.
Hmm.
This is Michael Williams.
What's up, y'all? No, y'all not used to us being on midweek or doing anything midweek, but hey,
Well, they're going to know us from Saturday because they're
true,
not going to know this there.
true.
But this is a Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah, stuff happens.
Very shiny. Yeah, life comes at you pretty fast, and then pockets got to be filled. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Because
Yeah.
my brother likes empanadas. And myself,
Exactly.
I am the hungriest man in the room. I am the hungry bleak. I am Antonio Pomares. You can catch me also on the future award-winning. I don't know, whatever.
Webby
pod,
Award winning.
podcast, the Hungry Bleak
Hmm.
podcast, and you can also catch me as well as here, obviously on Fandom Show, but you can also catch me on Sundays at around 6:30 on IG Live on the Zion Network. I do the Lit Pick where I recommend comic books.
Yes, sir.
So, welcome to the Fandom, brother. Before we talk about our main topic, we got to talk about that Shang-Chi trailer.
Shang-Chi.
Brother, it hit different. This is probably the most excited I've been since Black Panther, even more than Infinity and Endgame, honestly.
Yeah. Marvel Entertainment says you're welcome, by the way.
Yes. They was like, you know what? Man, let me slide this on over to you and just walk off and just be smooth with it.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is a teaser trailer,
Mm.
and it didn't feel like a teaser trailer. It felt wonderful. Shang-Chi is one of those characters that's known but not really known. He's the master of kung fu. Been around since maybe the 60s, I want to say, maybe 60s or so. I'm just getting familiar with the character. So this is very exciting to me. I think that's what makes it even more exciting is the fact that I'm not very familiar with it, so I get to learn more about the character, not from not just from the movie, but from these two recent series.
Absolutely.
Um, your honest thoughts, brother, because I'm still trying to. I've watched it twice. I'm still trying to reel from it.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
you just watched it.
I
You
just watched it before we came on. We just
Yes.
watched it. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with my co-host who mentioned in a brief discussion before we came on that he felt like it had reminiscent of some Black Panther vibes when that Black Panther trailer dropped years ago.
That same energy.
Yeah, it looks amazing, actually. Um, I'm really excited to see it. I'm not as familiar with Shang-Chi maybe as Antonio is, and maybe as some of you out there are, but this definitely would make me want to go back and explore the history of the character before seeing the movie. But definitely, this trailer is just extremely well done for what it is. I mean, it's supposed to be a teaser. Like, I don't need anything else. To be honest, I don't. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing it.
The cast is Jesus. I mean, this is like. I mean, as Shang-Chi, we have Simu Liu. I'm not familiar with him. I will become familiar with him now. We have Aquafina. We have Tony Lee. We already talked about Aquafina.
Yeah.
We have Tony Leung,
Yes.
Michelle Yeoh. Fala Chen, Menger Zhang. Hope I'm saying the name properly. Florian Montanu. Again, I hope I'm saying that pronounce.
Florian. Hold on. Is that who I
Hmm,
think it is?
possibly.
Hold on. Let me look that.
And Ronnie Chiang, excuse me, Chiang.
Uh,
Uh, this is yeah.
yes. Florian Matanu is from Creed 2. He played Drago's son.
Oh, so that was the dude that. Oh, okay, all right. I
Yes,
didn't.
yes.
That's a hell of a
I
name,
knew the
sir.
name sounded familiar. I was like, really?
That is a hell of a name.
Yeah.
That is a hell of a name, sir. I did.
Yeah.
Only a man with a name like that could fight another man named Adonis Creed. That's the
Yeah.
only man who could fight him, sir.
I'm even more excited just based on that dude being in it because he was really good in Creed 2.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. Has he been in anything since?
No, not that I'm aware of. I
Maybe he was.
mean,
Maybe he took all that time to bulk up because dude looks bigger than he was, and he was already big as hell.
yeah, and of
He looks
course,
huge.
and listen, anything at this point with Michelle Yeoh
But dude,
is worth seeing.
I'm
Anything.
like, I'm dead thinking about like she just shows up and stuff, and she just like, okay, so
Yeah,
we're gonna do
yeah.
this.
And speaking of which, in that trailer, there's that quick scene in there that's very Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon vibe.
Yes, in the forest with the
Yes,
leaves. Yeah,
yes.
there's definitely some wire work done in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mad at it because for a while it was overdone
Mm-hmm.
because it was being done for really horrible movies, and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
I wish y'all hadn't spent that money for them wires. I wish
Yeah,
you should have
yeah.
spent it on something else.
Exactly, exactly.
But again, as we've talked about numerous times, and in our actual most recent episode, we trust Marvel, so we give them
Yeah.
that slack.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks wonderful and it is reminiscent because it is going to be like an action packed.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm guessing kind of like a fish out of water martial arts
Mm-hmm.
film. I think there's going to be a lot of like father son drama as well because it's going to be Shang-Chi going back to his father,
Mm-hmm.
who I believe in the movie is going to be the Mandarin. Because but like I was actually telling my partner here earlier,
Okay.
they've retconned his father a few times because of the racial stereotyping when the characters were first created and developed and written
Yeah.
and such. So they've
Yeah.
retconned a few times. I'm excited as hell to see this, man. I am.
Yeah. And just so you all know, that Mandarin discussion that him and I are having is just purely speculation between
Yes,
me and
yes,
him.
yes,
It's
yes.
nothing confirmed. It's just going basically by a scene that I saw there
Hmm.
that looks very reminiscent to another scene that we saw in the previous Iron Man film. So
Yes, because we
we'll
never
see.
got to see the actual
Yeah.
the actual Mandarin.
Yeah.
Uh, but hopefully this will get more people going out because Shang-Chi has a miniseries that came out a few months ago, which I
Okay.
loved, and
Mm-hmm.
has a new series coming out. So hopefully this will get people to go and read that because it's phenomenal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And this new one is going to be just as good, action packed. So the tie-in will work
Mm-hmm.
definitely. So please go and read that. And when this movie comes about, hopefully better time. It's the release date is September 3rd, I believe it
Mm-hmm.
said.
September
So
3rd.
possibly could change depending on the way the world blows right now.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, we'll be in a much better place
Yeah.
by then. But I'm excited either way, even if it's home. I'm excited to see this. I'm
Mm-hmm.
extremely excited to see this movie.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that they had finished and they were like this close. I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
I thought
Mm-hmm.
they were still doing stuff with it.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about that trailer, man. Damn, I'm still thinking about that trailer. That trailer hot, man.
It is hot. It is hot.
And, but
They
it
really don't
has
need to drop anything else for this movie, really.
they never do, but they want to. But I understand why they've been doing it over the last year or so because
Mm-hmm.
movies had to keep being pushed back, keep pushing back.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have. You could have just had them sitting around a table,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
just talking,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and because if it has
Yeah.
Marvel at the top, we're going to be there. That's it. I
Yeah,
mean, as long
pretty
as it doesn't
much.
say Inhumans, but
Yeah.
we'll be there for it. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
exactly.
Nobody's
Yeah.
perfect, everybody has to have a faltering point, and that was
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm sure that, but I believe that they will rectify that
Hmm.
in the future with the Inhumans because that's a huge
Yeah.
property and platform, and depending on where they go with Miss Marvel,
Yeah.
don't know.
And
Um,
maybe if they want to do some type of better filmic justice to a
yeah,
Civil War sequel,
yeah,
if they
yeah.
wanted to.
Honestly, yeah, they really
Not that they
could.
need to, but if they wanted to.
Yeah, they really could. But that would be something maybe
Yeah, way down the road.
like 10 years down.
Yeah.
And we're saying 10 years, like, oh my gosh, it's a long time. But you go, they're probably already thinking of what to do in 10 years anyway.
Exactly.
They're already thinking
Exactly.
about. They've already got. They just finished their plans for 5 years. So 10 years is like, all right. So next year we'll do 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Exactly. Exactly.
But yeah, this is going to be exciting. September 3rd, Shang-Chi and what is it? Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, I believe is what it
Mm-hmm.
was.
I think so.
Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Yes.
Yes.
Damn. I'm just. Oh, God. Oh my God. So pumped.
Exactly.
And you know what? We needed that. We needed that pump and that kick because next we're going to talk about the New Mutants.
Yeah.
Now you'll notice conspicuous by its absence is my usual comic book T-shirt or geek shirt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Number one, it's a Tuesday. I just got out the shower. I
Mm-hmm.
just wanted to throw something on comfortable, and I felt like wearing a hoodie today.
Mm-hmm.
Still can't get these damn cords straight. Okay, it's cool. Whatever. We'll let it go. OCD, control freak. That's what it is. But I also was like, I was going to wear a cable T-shirt, and I said, nope,
Mm.
nope,
Nope.
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 Then I thought, you know what, Storm. Everyone loves Storm. And I said, no, I'm not. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to, no. Kiss my ass. I'm not going to do it.
Not gonna dignify it.
So New Mutants is in the X-Men universe. Obviously, mutants. They are a young group of mutants who are new to the school, and they learned how to use their powers, such like that. This movie is a spinoff of the X-Men movies,
Mm-hmm.
but instead of at the school, they're at like this institute. Excuse me, not institute, but a what would I call it? A institution. I guess is a
Mm-hmm.
better word to say it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, looks like looks like it used to be like a hospital
Mm-hmm.
or some type of sanitarium.
Yep.
Uh, I just, fuck. Oh my god! All right, so we have the characters of Ilyana Rasputin. That's magic.
Mm-hmm.
She is Piotr, Colossus's sister. We
Mm-hmm.
have Raina Sinclair. Her name is Wolfsbane, I believe, in the
Mm-hmm.
comics.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Guthrie, Cannonball. We have Danny Moonstar, who goes by Moonstar. We have Roberto da Costa, who is Sunspot, and then we have Dr. Reyes. This is from 20th Century Fox. This was their last X-Men mutant movie.
Mm-hmm.
Refresh my memory. Which was done first, this or Phoenix? Was this done first and then just put this then held and held and held and held and held for so long?
I want to say yes, but I mean they might have been like really close to each other as far as in production time, but
Okay.
definitely, New Mutants got delayed longer.
Yeah, it felt like almost like
Yeah,
a year, maybe
yeah, about a year and some
year or so.
change. Yeah.
All right, let me try and do positive stuff.
Okay.
Let me go that route. You know what I'm saying? Let me try and do something different.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we have an indigenous queer lead. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's an ensemble, but we're seeing this new world through Danny Moonstar's eyes because
Mm-hmm.
her powers just manifested.
Mm-hmm.
So we have that, which is great. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I love seeing Alice Braga. Huge fan of Queen of the South.
Very underrated actress.
Yes, very underrated.
Mm-hmm.
I also loved Anya Taylor Joy. I need to watch Queen's Gambit again.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that series is so damn good.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
constantly thinking about it. We might have to do a show on that.
Yeah.
Special effects were actually kind of good. I
Mm-hmm.
like seeing uh Magic's powers, like her
Mm-hmm.
arm, talking about Limbo. They went, this movie is dark because it's supposed to be like a horror movie, and I can see elements of horror with it. Um, I it's dark as far as like Logan,
Mm, yeah. Yeah.
but this
Yeah.
feels a little bit darker because they did go with some of the backstory they had was Ileana being sexually abused.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, I wanted to know more about that, but the movie's only an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get to that. First, Michael and I will talk about our positive things. I hope Michael
Yes.
has at least one or two.
Oh
Then we'll go into negative stuff that we didn't like. That might take longer.
yeah.
I,
Yeah. Good.
I like that. I actually like Cannibals powers because I was wondering how they were going to do Cannibals powers. That was actually kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
We got a little cameo from Lockheed,
Mm-hmm.
which was kind of cool. And they do. This is explicit because they do explicitly mention the X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yes.
do explicitly mention them, so it's not like a maybe it knows they explicitly mention the X-Men. We don't know the timeline though.
Yeah. That
We
we
don't know
don't
what
know.
year it is.
That we don't know. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
the set was nice. It looked like catering probably did a great job. That's all I
Yeah.
got. That's I'm gonna be dead ass
Yeah.
real with you. That's all. And we have an indigenous queer lead, which is what I am most focused on, and I love that fact.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to diminish that, but I also don't want to put this whole movie on that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like that's the only thing that's weighing it up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't want to struggle to have to look for things I like in a movie, but I did like that. I like that romance that didn't shy away from it.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Beach was here for about a cup of hot coffee.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Slipknot, and that's all I got, brother. Go ahead, run
That's
it.
what you got.
Yeah, that's all I got, man.
uh, I mean,
Mm.
a lot of the things that you just mentioned are things that I really liked about the movie. Like, I think they had something here before they started shooting,
Mm.
and I'm not sure what happened after that. I think that that's kind of the problem with New Mutants. It's a movie that wants to be different, that wants to be.
Supposed to be saying positive stuff, brother.
I, I mean, I don't know. Like, I thought the movie was well cast for sure.
Mm.
Um, I didn't think. I mean, I didn't think any of the people that they picked were necessarily wrong for the roles that they were in. I just don't think they have enough to do, which is
Mm.
weird.
I
It's
I totally
very
get what you're
weird.
saying, though. Yeah.
Like I don't. When I mean, and maybe part of the problem with that now, right, is that we've seen Anya Taylor Joy, for example, in this movie. We've
Mhm.
seen Anya Taylor Joy in other things that really show how good an actress she's become, right?
Yeah.
So then when you look at this now through that lens, it's like, did they not know that she was a good actress, or did they just whittle down her part to almost, just kind of being ridiculous and nothing? Like, it's weird. It's like, I almost feel like they could have really given Anya Taylor a lot more to do in this movie, and she would have sold it in a way that just would have been memorable and mesmerizing. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Because her character is very tortured, for lack of a better term. And we don't really see the things that kind of put her where she is. It's
Mhm.
hinted a lot, but we don't really kind of get the full scope of what that is. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Um, yeah, I mean, I thought that I was really surprised that the special effects were as good as they were because I didn't think
Yeah.
they would be that good.
Yeah, they were. I mean, the demon bear looked really cool. Oh,
Yeah,
spoilers in case
yeah,
you probably don't want to see this movie. Fuck it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they were really cool. The only thing
Mm,
I didn't like with the special effects was Sunspot's powers. I just did. I don't. It. You know what I mean? Because I'm looking for that total like black, which is an issue I'm going to get to in a second as far
eh,
as skin
okay.
tone.
Mm,
But again, I have to remember some things. You have to translate it to film and how is that going to work with
mm,
special effects or something like that. So I temper my expectations with something like that. You know what I
mm,
mean? I know that I'm not going to get it to look exactly like that.
mm,
I know that.
mm.
You know.
Yeah, and a lot of how I felt about it, a lot of how I felt about Anya Taylor Joy in this movie is the same that I felt about Macy Williams in this movie too. Is that
Mm,
I don't feel like they really took advantage of how good an actress Macy Williams has become. Like,
mm.
Macy Williams basically cut her teeth as an actress on Game of Thrones, for 10 years.
Yeah,
And her character takes one of the better arcs on that show.
arguably the best.
Yeah, for the time that she's on there. So it's kind of like you gotta give her and Anya Taylor, which arguably other than
Blue Hunt.
Sonya Braga,
Oh, Sonya Brogdon.
are
No, no,
probably
Alice.
the oh, I'm sorry, Alice Braga,
But
sorry.
I can't be mad at you for thinking about Sonya.
Yeah, because she looks so much like her
Well, that's
aunt.
her. Yeah, I was about to say that's her aunt.
She
Yeah,
looks so much like her aunt. It's scary.
yeah.
You know what
She
I
does.
mean?
She looks like and sounds like her too. Like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
everything is
yeah.
like her.
Yeah, I mean, other than those two and Alice Braga, those three are probably the biggest stars in this movie.
Yeah. I mean, Charlie Heaton, we know him from Stranger Things,
Mm-hmm.
but the other three have a larger library of work.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, do you think that because I mean, honestly, they gave them a lot to do, but it was only an hour and 30 minutes. Do you think? I mean, because within an hour and 30 minutes, they gave them the most to do. So
Mm-hmm.
they did. I mean, aside from Blue Hunt,
Mm-hmm.
who was really great in the
Mm-hmm.
role,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
do like Blue Hunt like that.
yeah.
Um, but as far as time wise, they did give them the most to do. I just think that we're used to movies that are 2 hours or more.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it feels like we're not getting it, but we are getting it. But
Mm-hmm.
because it's so damn short,
Mm-hmm.
we feel like, wait, where's the rest of it? Because they
Yeah,
get
and I
because that time constraint is weird.
yeah I feel like that's part of what really hurt this movie too is that it's so constrained. It's
Yeah.
like you can't really tell this kind of story in an hour and a half. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Hmm.
Like if your argument with New Mutants is to establish them as the future of mutant kind,
Hmm.
right?
The next line of heroes and such like that. Yeah.
Right. You also have to establish why they've wound up in this place that they're at. What are the things that have caused them to all be in the same place at the same time? Why are they kind of the subject of clearly Dr. Reyes, who one would argue has maybe not so great intentions for
Hmm.
them, and especially for one in particular? You have to kind of understand her motivation behind things, why she's working for the Essex Corporation in the first place.
Hmm.
Like you can't put this kind of story in a straitjacket and say, "Oh, well, you're only going to get an hour and a half." So, I hope you tell it the best way you know how. It
Hmm.
just doesn't make much sense. It's I don't know. I don't know. It almost feels like, and this is probably the truth. It feels like Fox probably tested this movie. People hated it,
Hmm.
and they were like, "We're not going to do much else with it because we know that people aren't going to really give it a chance anyway." You
Hmm.
know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I I don't know. You
It's
can't do this movie in an hour and a half. You can't.
well, they did. They,
Which is
I
why
wish
it's
I
a
knew.
failure.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm just looking up Blue Hunt. The character Danny Moonstar's code name is Mirage. I totally zonked down.
Yeah.
I apologize. But she was in Another Life, which is a series I loved. She
Mm-hmm.
was in the originals. She was in Stumptown, which is a series I started watching and I dug it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. So she has a really cool body of work, and I actually love that. I do need to go and finish that Stumptown because that was good. Yeah, that time constraint is. I wonder why it was that time constraint though. That's very curious to me. Why?
And
Why was it
we
so short? When on average
yeah
nowadays you get a 2 hour movie,
yeah
even on streaming services, you get two
yeah.
hour movies.
And we also don't have any idea how much of this movie was cut and how much of this movie was reshot, because we do know some of it was reshot,
Hmm.
and I don't. I mean, I don't know. Like, I just it's
This is almost like a mystery film because we don't. I
yeah.
mean, I'm sure we'll find out at some point,
Mm-hmm.
or it might be buried forever. Who the hell knows? I mean, maybe Snyder will like figure out what's going on, and we'll get a Snyder cut of this
Mm-hmm.
too. I have no idea, but it's
Yeah.
just there's so the delays went on for almost a year. It's just so weird. And if you had told me, okay, we're gonna have a new because when the trailer came out, we were all hyped as hell.
Yeah, because it was a very different looking film in the mutant X-Men verse, if you want to go there,
Hmm.
than we had ever seen. And I think that's one of my other issues with the movie, is that this, for all intended purposes, is a straight up horror film.
Yeah, that's what it was supposed to. I mean, you can feel the horror elements in there
Yes.
because that's what it was billed as a horror film.
Which is a good thing, right? Because you and I both agree that we wanted Aquaman to be a straight up horror film. That's the
Hmm.
only way you can really do Aquaman any justice.
And it's what
Because
we were
there's
told that we were gonna get
yeah,
too.
because there's an innate horror in the sea,
Hmm.
for people who live on land, right? And it has to be this guy who, lives in that horror for most of his life, has to somehow rise to the surface and become this champion of the horror, right? That
Hmm.
people recognize and recognize and align themselves with. This movie is basically in, it's five kids of varying backgrounds, various tragedies have happened to them, and they're basically in this like sanitarium place, kind of just left to be there to be there. You know what I mean? They don't really
Hmm.
have families that we know of. There's something very scary about that. And, and
Hmm.
I don't think this movie really did a very good job as far as playing up that horror. I mean, there are horror elements for sure. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that there aren't any in the movie. There just needs to be more, and I think that they needed somebody. And again, I'm gonna throw two directors out here that probably could have done a better job with this movie than Josh Boone did.
Hmm.
One of them obviously is me and yours go to, who needs to be recognized for what he's done so far. James Wan.
Yeah.
I think James Wan would have killed this movie if they'd let him do it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get this guy's name out of my head, and I'm going strictly off of what he's done with it and It Chapter 2. Andy Machete probably would have done a
Oh,
very good
okay.
job with this movie too.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. Seeing him do something with the demon bear. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that would have been that would have been cool as hell. To be real
Yeah,
with you.
yeah. But I mean,
Yeah.
again, I just there's a lot missing from this movie, a lot, and it's not just time. It's also just
No,
kind
it's
of structure and narrative writing, and I don't
well,
know.
it's the story because this is one of the demon bear story is very beloved and it's one of those
Yeah,
classic. stories from the New Mutants run.
Yeah.
When people heard about it, it was going to be the Demon Bear, they were very excited.
Mm.
But then everything happened, and the story is not fleshed out very much. My issues are Ileana is just straight up racist.
Yeah.
She's continuously racist towards Danny.
Yeah.
Um, the casting of Braga and Zaga, I like them as actors,
Mm-hmm.
but Roberto is supposed to be dark skinned.
Mm-hmm.
His first appearance in the comics was him being harassed because he was dark skinned.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Reyes, Braga's character, is supposed to be dark skinned as well.
Yeah.
These characters are not fleshed out at all.
Nope.
Adam Beach continues to be underutilized. This guy
Yes.
is a phenomenal character. Give him a role that is meaty.
Mm-hmm.
Give him a
Mm-hmm.
role where he does not die in the first 10 minutes.
I
I'm
agree
looking
with
at
you,
you,
man.
Suicide Squad, and I'm looking at you, New Mutants.
Yeah, I agree.
He's been killed in both DC and Marvel. I'm not happy with this shit. This dude is a phenomenal actor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know what the thing is I just don't care. I just don't, and I think that's worse than not liking it. I just don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the thing with me. I'm if you know, and we all we know is that it's the Essex, was it the Essex
Essex
Corporation,
Corporation.
which I
Yeah.
believe is Mr. Sinister.
I believe so.
I
Yes.
want to say, but we don't find anything out about that. What was your end game? What was it going to supposed to like tie to? There was no real. You could have had like 2 hours. And you could give us a better story and wrapped it up and not made illusions that it was going to go here or there, or it could have just been a standalone movie where it was its own thing.
Yeah.
It just there's oh my god, yeah, from the
Yeah.
racism to
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
it's
I
just
think Fox. I think Fox got ahead of themselves. Right. I think what happened was when the two movies that did put them ahead of themselves in the last 15 or so years was Logan
mm,
and um, X-Men First Class
okay.
to a certain extent, right? Like X-Men First Class to me is a movie that I like. It almost kind of shows that they kind of learned from their mistakes
Mm,
from the first X-Men trilogy, right?
mm-hmm.
And it seemed like they were trying to go in a very decently good direction with it after that movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the movies that come after it are what's the second one? The second one is Days of Future Past.
Yeah, because they're starting to go.
Okay,
They're starting to tell the story of before
right,
the X-Men because
right. And Days of Future Past is a movie that I like because it combines both groups that
mm-hmm.
play in this X-Men sandbox, and that movie works. But the movies that come after that are a
Are a
mess.
mess,
Like they go
absolute mess,
right back to being a mess, which is crazy to me. Like you repeated
and
the exact
they
same thing
revel
that you
in it.
did. Yeah. You repeated the exact same thing that you did the first time around, which is insane. Like
Mm-hmm.
the first movie is good, X-Men in 2000 is good. Then you get X-Men United, which is the second one, which is arguably probably the best of that trilogy.
Yeah,
And then
mm-hmm.
the third movie you get, Last Stand, is horrible. Like I
It's
just don't.
atrocious.
I don't understand. Like how can you repeat the same thing over again? Like it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't.
Well, how many times did they butcher the Phoenix story?
Right. And exactly.
And it was the
Twice.
same guy too, wasn't it? The same dude. I want to say
I think so.
the same director or the same writer.
Same writer, not same
Same right,
director.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
but you know, I think what I think they had a grand plan to kind of connect everything. You know, because I think at some point they wanted to introduce Mr. Sinister and they didn't.
mm,
And I
hmm
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think that this is kind of the thing that's per Disney to be like, and it wasn't just Disney, it was also Fox. I think Fox just saw the handwriting on the wall that it was like, you know, we don't want to be bothered with this anymore. You know, we don't want to be bothered with the film business anymore. It's just too hard. Like, the
mm,
fans are just not receptive anymore to us,
because it's
you know?
shit. I
Yeah,
don't.
and then Disney was kind of like, hey, you got all this content. We'll take this off your hands. We have no
Hmm
problem with that as long as we, get the rights to something that we absolutely want, which is the X-Men. Because then the X-Men opens up all kinds of doors at Marvel now.
Because the minute you're able to use the word mutant,
Right.
you're getting at the core. That's one of the cornerstones of Marvel.
Right. Right. It opens those doors. It opens doors for crossovers between them
Hmm
and Avengers. It opens all kinds of doors,
Yep.
right? So I
New animated
understand.
series,
Yeah,
live action series.
I completely
Oh.
understand why Disney buys it, right?
hmm
And I also completely understand why Disney basically kind of said, for lack of a better term, we don't give two craps about New Mutants. We really don't. Like, they
hmm
already made the movie.
Yeah.
We are under no obligation to promote it. We're under no obligation to, kill ourselves to release it.
hmm
We know it's dead on arrival, so when it comes out, and that's it. You know what I mean? Now, would it have played better had they released it during that Comic Con at home event for everyone to see?
Oh yeah, I forgot about
Maybe.
that. I forgot
Because you,
that would
you
have
and I
been,
were
yeah.
talking about that during the summer
Yeah,
last
I
year.
totally forgot about, because that's what they acted like they were gonna do. The way they
Yeah.
were hyped about.
Yeah.
They should just release it on Hulu.
It might have played better had it been on Hulu. At least people would have seen it and had something to say about it.
Hmm
But I think in some ways Disney had already seen the cut of the movie and they were like, we don't really care.
No,
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Like, this is a textbook situation of what happens when, a studio just doesn't do things right. And they don't really care.
Well, they've never really cared. I mean, this whole series has been, aside from just everything being just a mess as far as like production, and every year they cut. They're supposed to. They're they're going forward in time each year, but the costumes are getting worse, which made no goddamn sense at all. Those
Yes.
should have been costumes in like the first year.
Yes.
Between that and the timeline is horrible.
Yeah.
It's all over the place.
Yeah.
How many? It's just. I thought that we were done with Phoenix. I was like, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I forgot about, because the two movies I kept forgetting about were Phoenix. I forgot about that numerous times,
Mm-hmm.
and I forgot about New Mutants.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize New Mutants. Phoenix is, yeah, and I remember being in theaters and like, what is this? What?
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's over.
Yeah.
Then I forgot about this, and this is like, I'm glad it was at home. They released this during a pandemic. I don't know
Yeah.
which is worse.
Yeah.
If you went to see this in theaters before a vaccine,
Mm-hmm.
you deserve to have your ass beat with a belt or a chancla. Like, you deserve
I
one of those old school ass beatings. For real, there's no. This is,
I hear
if
you,
you sitting in
brother.
that theater for an hour and a half,
Mm-hmm.
you a grown ass person, and you sitting in that theater for an hour and a half. You better sit in that theater for 2 hours or more. You don't go to a movie theater for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
You don't. And I that sounds weird, and that sounds snobbish, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But in this day and age, with
Mm-hmm.
how much movies cost and the
Mm-hmm.
quality of movies that are out there, you better not sit in that theater for a movie an hour and a half. By the time you sit down, the movie's over.
Yeah. I
I mean,
mean, I
honestly,
agree. I
it's so
agree.
So I am curious about what was cut out, what was, but then I go, I don't care.
Yeah,
I couldn't give
yeah,
a shit because
yeah,
if this is what you kept, I can imagine what you cut out.
yeah, yeah,
There's
yeah.
where were you going with this? Where were you? I don't.
Yeah. I mean, it's just there's a better New Mutant story to be told here, and it's not in this movie. It's just not. It's not. And it's sad, right? Because I feel bad for actors
Oh yeah, yeah.
that want to play these roles and don't really get a chance to play them the way that they're capable of, which is one of the reasons why, when you bring up Dark Phoenix,
Mm,
it's one of the huge reasons why I wish that Marvel Entertainment, if they're thinking about doing some type of an X-Men movie in the future, please reconsider bringing back James McAvoy. Please reconsider bringing back Michael Fassbender. And to a
mm.
certain extent, I wouldn't mind it if they thought about bringing back Sophie Turner, because I don't think Sophie Turner really got to play the role the way she's capable of doing it. Like, I think she is capable of playing this role. But if you don't
Mm.
give her anything, you get what you get.
Yeah, there are the actors are great. We're not saying anything against actors or their ability, but if
Yeah,
they're not given, you can only do so much with the
right,
material that you're given. And the
right.
material that they've been given was horrible. It was completely and
Yeah,
totally horrible. Each movie got worse, as
yeah,
Michael was saying, and it makes no. You're supposed to learn. You
yeah,
learn nothing, nothing from any of this.
yeah, yeah,
Basura,
yeah,
straight basura.
yeah.
What was that?
I mean, people know who Macy Williams is. People know
Mm-hmm.
who Anya Taylor Joy is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, give them something. If you gave Anya Taylor Joy's character from this movie in New Mutants what she's truly capable of after seeing something like Queen's Gambit,
Mm-hmm.
people would be dying to see her in another, X Men movie.
Mm.
You know what I
And
mean?
and Ileana Magic is one of the most popular characters
Yeah,
out
yeah,
there. So is Danny Moonstar. Those are two
yes,
incredibly popular characters.
yeah,
And to do them disservices like this, it's continuously it. Sometimes I understand if someone says, "Well, I'm tired of superhero movies," but this is what they've seen, then I can
uh-huh.
understand why they would say, "Well, I'm tired." Then I go, "Well, that's what you've seen. This is what you should be watching." So I would understand if that's all that you've seen because
Right.
that's all you read is X-Men. So you watch these movies because you're a fan.
Mm-hmm.
I would understand it. It's
Yeah.
just, and it definitely is unfortunate. These great actors were given nothing. First off, recast Sunspot and Reyes. Recast them
Mm-hmm.
darker skinned actors.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, let's call a thing a thing. Stop it. Stop bringing the brown paper bag to the casting sessions and seeing
Mm-hmm.
if the skin matches up. Stop that shit. Stop it. Over. It's done. For
Yeah,
real.
exactly.
Stop that shit.
Exactly.
Um, give these the actors did good with what they had. Give them. I like seeing new characters to characters that people may not be familiar with. They're not as iconic, quote
Mm-hmm.
unquote, as these other characters are because they're younger.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we could have had this for a minute and then they could end up becoming X Force. Then we can get Cable in there, and we can
Mm-hmm.
go there, and we can still because there are so many progressions. Just like how mutants are evolution, their stories evolve and they become different teams. They have
Mm-hmm.
relationships and such like that. It's like a soap opera in essence, like a soap opera with powers, and you can do that. But when you give us an hour and 30-minute movie of such an iconic storyline, an
Yeah.
epic, it's like it's so horrible that I'm yawning. Like that's how unbelievably
Yeah. Yeah.
tired and bored I am of the just
Yeah.
like I would, you know what? Marvel, if they did an animated series of this New Mutants animated series. I mean, yes, I do want live action, but I want some new animated stuff too from Marvel. If they went with this, and X-Men, I mean, they could, but I would like to see these characters because they're characters I'm somewhat familiar with, but I would love to see more of them. I'd love to see how their relationship works and how it progresses and how they handle that, because I think that was the first gay kiss in an MCU movie.
Yeah.
I want to, well, excuse me, a Marvel, quote unquote, Marvel movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want to say,
Yeah.
and between two superheroes too. I want to say
Yeah.
in Marvel or DC. I think this might be.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, I know the first MCU proper is supposed to be in Eternals,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, you hit these things and hit these landmarks and did something. You have these great spotlighted things, but then you give it in this shit movie, and it
Yeah.
puts a damper on those things. I shouldn't say put a damper on them because they're still great things, even though it's 2021 and we're just getting this shit now. I don't fucking understand that
Yeah.
stupid shit. But this, I mean, what do you rate this movie, man? I'm getting tired. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Jesus.
Just gonna be real, and it's not because of your company or anything like that.
No,
This
I hear
movie
you.
just sucks the air out of the room.
No, I hear you, brother. Out of what's the rating criteria, brother?
Oh, Jesus, oh, damn sure I rate on the curve because I don't care that much. You know what? Cinema CEO, out of 5 reels, how many reels do you get it?
Uh,
No,
this
no,
one,
no. You know what? Out of 5 projectors.
five
Aha, I like that.
projectors.
I like that.
Mm. Yeah, this is gonna get one projector,
Woo,
and
woo.
and barely on life support of actually working the day of the shoot.
Is somebody plugging that projector? Nah. Somebody get MacGyver.
Yeah,
Get him
yeah,
some gum, a paper clip, and some
yeah.
toilet paper.
I did. There's some stuff here in this movie that could be really, really good. It's just not executed well at all. It's
Yeah,
not.
it's not,
It's just
sadly.
not. And that's a shame. I mean, it's a shame. I mean, and you guys watch us all the time, and we talk about how Marvel Entertainment has basically earned the trust of you know super actors out here
Yeah.
now.
Hmm.
You can't get Julia Louis Dreyfus in an MCU show on Disney Plus unless she knows that they know what they're doing. Number one, and that they're not going to make her look bad.
That trust.
Number two, like you can't get Robert Redford in a movie,
Hmm.
even if he's doing it solely because he's got grandkids who want to see him in a movie, right?
Yeah.
He's not going to do that movie unless he believes in the story that you're telling
Hmm.
and that he can add some kind of added value to it.
Yeah.
Like,
Kirk Russell,
yeah,
uh, Michael Douglas,
yeah,
Michelle Pfeiffer,
yeah.
like these big iconic. He just
The problem is that Marvel properties under Fox have been just these
made to
overwhelmingly
be.
disappointing
Yeah.
exercises in filmmaking that almost now MCU proper Marvel Entertainment now has to come in and try and make it up to some of these actors
Mm.
after the fact to try and make them believe that, hey, this isn't really what filmmaking is. We'll show you what filmmaking is, and we'll make you relevant to people who know who want to see you thrive in a comic book property. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? Like, it's odd. It's just it's just so
They
odd.
they made the movies just to keep the properties. That's
Yeah,
it. They made the movies just to keep them. That was it. You can tell that with the Fantastic Four movies.
yeah,
The X-Men, the X-Men franchise is a huge one. You can see
yeah,
that because at a certain point you're like, so what year is it? And even when they retconned it, they still went and fucked it. And you're like,
yeah,
so y'all just don't give a shit.
yeah,
That's the only reason why they made them, to just make them. This was almost like a huge slap in the face. Like, well, you can have it, but you know what? This is what it is.
yeah. We're gonna drive it into the ground first before we sell it to you.
This is what we're gonna do. And it's just it's
Yeah. I mean, and
So goddamn weird.
it's such a stark difference than from how Sony does it, right? Because Sony needed to figure it out for themselves, right? That look, the only way we're gonna get people to come and see Spider Man again is if we ask these guys to help us, because we can't do it by ourselves. We
But
just can't.
that teamwork worked out. Like you have to,
Yeah,
like if you have, like they know that source material, they know how it's going to translate.
yeah,
So why wouldn't you say, you know what? Can we have a partnership? This
yeah,
XYZ, bang, 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 whatever. And you put out a fantastic movie that still had ties to go somewhere else. We haven't had that before, and it was
yeah,
exciting to see that.
yeah,
I kind of wish they had done that with Venom.
mm, yeah,
I still enjoyed Venom as a standalone thing.
yeah.
That again was supposed to be like a horror. You can kind of see horror elements in there,
Yeah, absolutely.
kind of body horror a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. Um, but that would have, but to have that would have been really cool if they had partnered up with that, because then we would have gotten more of a link
Mm-hmm.
between, Spider-Man, Venom, excuse me, and the MCU proper.
Mm-hmm.
But
I, I mean, I'm
who
with
owns
you.
Hulk? Is it Paramount?
No, it's
Who is it?
Universal. I think still owns the majority of it.
They need to do something. They need to go across the aisle,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
with the popularity of Hulk and the series, the Immortal Hulk,
Mm-hmm.
imagine that. Immortal Hulk is a horror,
Mm-hmm.
body horror. That's a real horror comic.
Mm-hmm.
And also with the She Hulk that they have coming up,
Mm-hmm.
a step across the aisle.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It can be outside of the MCU
Mm-hmm.
and be a bit darker toned and more horror, but still have links to it.
Yeah, absolutely,
You
absolutely,
can do that because they know, again, they know the source material. They created the source material.
yeah, absolutely. And
So why wouldn't you?
yeah, and I'm completely with you, brother, on them. I would even go for them doing a New Mutants animated series that is more adult.
Yeah.
Even if it wouldn't need to be on Hulu, I would be
Yep.
all for it.
You can throw that right up on Hulu. Have Hulu be like
Yeah,
your more mature rated series corner. You can
yeah,
even have a Marvel tab on there, just like there's that FX tab.
yeah. I mean, again, this is this. I mean, and this goes back to our conversation last week where I said I really hope that at some point, Marvel, Disney, whatever, they sit down and they really have a conversation because they need to, like, they need to have this conversation that says we're not here, meaning Marvel, we're not here to make you guys look bad. Right?
Mm.
You guys write these checks for us and we deliver all the time for the most part. Like, there is this money that's being left on the table for Marvel adult content that needs to be looked at.
Mm.
And I get it. I get that Disney wants to maintain this look that they are the family friendly company that provides all of this great family friendly entertainment, and they still will. That's never gonna change.
Mm.
You know what I mean? But what they need to do is say, okay, you know, we went out of our way and bought all these Fox assets. I mean, no one would sit there and tell you that FX is a family friendly type thing. It's not.
No, it damn sure ain't.
You know what I mean? And there are a lot of people who love that content on the FX channel. You
Yeah,
know, so you can do both and still coexist and make your brand still strong. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Just like your comics, you have more comics that are darker and a
Yeah.
little edgier. You've had the Max series, which was ridiculous. That was
Mm-hmm.
like some adult, that was before Black Label from DC. That
Mm-hmm.
was some adult mess right there. I
Yeah.
mean that Punisher comic alone was ridiculous.
Yeah.
You had Garth Ennis write it. That tells you everything. Garth
Mm-hmm.
Ennis wrote it. That ain't for kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, be able to have those two divisions, or whatever the hell you have to do, those two types of movies, films, series, what have you, and
Mm-hmm.
you will get more of us. I'll be honest with you. I mean, you already have us, but you'll get more of us because we'll go, oh, so this is a little more for me. you can still tie it in,
Yeah,
you know, that
yeah,
darker corner, because
yeah,
that's what Netflix was, that darker corner.
yeah. I mean, even if you want to do like, and this would practically be cheating, right? But even if you want to do like a wink wink thing, right? Like
Mm,
we'll call it. Let's say I'm going to use the Punisher as an example. We'll call it the Punisher, but we just won't put the Marvel label ahead of it.
mm-hmm,
I'd even be fine with that.
mm-hmm,
You know what I mean? Like because I know what it is. Antonio knows what it is.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, but I don't know. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe it's being planned and they're just not talking about it. That could very well be it too.
Yeah, that's true. We'll have you. My rating for this movie, I'm gonna be honest with you, out of 5 plates, I just didn't care.
You
I
sent
just
back
didn't care.
you sent back the cold appetizers.
I just didn't. I just got up and left. I ordered water. I didn't eat anything. I got up and left. I left a tip for the server, and that was it. I just didn't care.
I hear you, brother.
I'm not trying to be funny or anything. This movie was so bland and dry.
No, I agree with you, brother. I
I
agree.
just didn't care. It gets an N/A.
Nice, nice.
Not appetizing, not applicable. I just
Yes.
didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cast was cool. I mean, aside from the casting changes that, like I said, that they should have done, I
Yeah.
just didn't care.
And I mean, God bless them. God bless them for. God bless them for promoting it the way that they wound up promoting it. It's just like at some point you know it's bad. You know what I mean?
There were
Like
so
you
many
have to know it's
pushes.
bad.
There were so many pushes. They should have just said, "Look, we're just going to throw it up on that New York Comic Con weekend, which was
Yeah.
last year. I want to say
Yeah.
correct.
Last year.
They
Yeah.
should just threw it up
Yeah.
and been like, "Hey, you know what? Here's the movie." Nothing.
Yeah.
And I know the cast was like, "You really want us to do this virtual panel and say we have a surprise for you? Here's another trailer. Seriously,
Exactly.
can we just
Exactly.
show them the movie?" No. All
Exactly.
right, cool, bet. So
Exactly.
yeah, that's I just don't give a shit. I'm gonna be honest.
Mm.
I don't care.
I hear you, brother. I hear you.
So that's been our unabashed
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
and completely honest critique of New Mutants. But with us, you got to really you guys really excited with the Shang-Chi,
Mm-hmm.
and then we hit you with the whoop wop wham, and the brr with the New Mutants. Sometimes it bees
Absolutely.
like that, folks. Sometimes it bees like that. Sometimes you don't
Absolutely.
get me if 9 times out of 10 if you see me in a non-comic book T-shirt, it's because I or a non-geek T-shirt. You know, I just don't. I got nothing for you.
Absolutely.
All right. So, on that note, Michael Williams, you have anything for the people?
As for usual, continue to be good to each other. COVID is still a thing.
Yes.
Get your shots. This brother right here is getting his shot soon.
Yes.
I'm gonna get my second shot in a couple of weeks.
Nice.
Just do it.
Yes. As for me, I just feeling very lackadaisical. I'm gonna
Very
be real with
blah.
you. I feel this movie has driven, it's just drained the
Yeah.
life out of me.
Yes. Or as the New York Times has coined that word when you feel that way, lack of motivation, lack of anything,
Yes.
languishing.
Yes. Yes. I'm almost not hungry. That's how you know how bad it is. I'm almost not hungry.
Yeah, exactly.
Almost. Watch yourself. Almost.
And that's saying a lot.
That
That's
is
saying a lot for this brother.
word. Uh, but I am drinking water, so I'm trying to get myself back up. And the sunlight's beautiful, so I'm actually gonna go get some sunlight. I'm gonna suck in the D. And no, I'm not gonna edit that statement. I'm gonna suck in some D. I'm gonna go outside, suck in some D. Got on my joggers, got my hoodie. I'm good. I got on my new chucks. Please, man. So hopefully that'll get. So once again, this has been Michael Williams. I am Antonio Pomares. This has been the Fandom Initiative. Thank you so very much. Yeah, have a good day. Like I said, this was pre-recorded, so if you want to throw up comments, please you can like, subscribe, share, comment. I know it's a small gesture for you, but it makes a big deal for us, and it makes us feel all warm and cozy inside. So thank
Yes.
you. Enjoy the day, and we will see you later, folks. And now I will dance awkwardly as it takes a little bit of time for this broadcast to end. For those of you who cannot see this, I am sorry. Go to YouTube and check this out because the shoulder action is deep.
Exactly.